a monster.
I'm your number one fan.
Now clear your minds. Knows what scares you. It has from the very beginning.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
It's been informed that zombies have entered the building. They're at the door. They're coming in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. I'm your host as always, Corey, and alongside me is my good pal, Tony. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How you been, man? How's life treating you?
Life's been good, brother. How's life been treating you?
I got a cut pinky.
You have a war wound, a work wound.
It's it's been great. It's been good.
Yeah.
Living life.
Up. Yeah. Excited to be back on, man.
Yeah, man.
Recording again.
Yep. We
kind
just haven't.
Kind of bittersweet though, because I think we're coming to the end of our summer slasher series. So
yeah, it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. Yeah. So I don't know if you saw. So folks, if you haven't checked out our Facebook group, head over to our Facebook group and join the Midnight Monster Corner podcast. And it's a closed group, so you ask, we'll let you in. But I posted a little bit of news today. Tony, did you see that?
I have not.
Ooh, it was the poster art for Terrifier 2.
Wow. Okay. Wicked, man.
And it had a release date.
Ooh. Okay. I know there's a trailer kicking around somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, I heard about it. I haven't seen it. I try to avoid trailers for the most part because I don't want, they spoil a lot of things.
I've heard nothing but good things coming from this project so far. So, and I mean, it does have high hopes,
Yeah.
At least for me.
It's highly anticipated, especially the indie community and just the horror community in general. I think art's becoming a mainstay in some iconic, reprimands or repetition.
Well, I think you and I both are on the same page when it comes to like we're hoping for a new horror icon.
Yeah, we need one. It's I think the last real one was Victor Crowley. As far as like a slasher villain, if you don't count the Collector, but yeah,
what did we say our golden rule was with the, or at least what is the actual rule there? Isn't it 3 movies or more?
Yeah, when it comes to 3 movies in a franchise, it becomes just a trilogy. But
that's when they become an icon, or I guess they really wouldn't. I mean, if they're good right off the rip, they're an icon. But as a fan, you just want more.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I think between Victor Crowley, Ghostface is another one.
Well, yeah, Ghostface is still going
throughout the early 2000s on to now, because they just released a new movie, didn't they?
Yep, they did.
So yeah.
Of course, Michael's established and Jason's established, so we're talking about like newer icons in the horror genre, newer slasher icons.
Oh, kind of an icon for our age, our day and age, I guess what generation, I guess you would say.
Very true. Yeah,
because we don't really have that.
Yeah, not unless you count Death from the Final Destination series, and then that's more in our time when that, and I'd say even the Saw stuff. A lot of the torture porn was going around when we were younger. So, of course, we were born like at the tail end of the 80s, so we missed out on actually seeing these the Friday the 13th series in theaters, Nightmare on Elm Street in theaters. So those are the ones we actually got to. I didn't really go see a lot of, like, I actually didn't see any in theaters, to be honest with you. Saw, I haven't seen one Saw film in theaters.
I think I saw one of them in theaters.
Yeah, I never did.
Oh.
For whatever reason, just never did.
Yeah, a lot of theaters are actually playing older horror films now.
Yeah, which is cool. I love seeing
Because
that.
I noticed Buddy Cooper posted the other day that or maybe it was today he actually posted it, but there was a drive-in theater, and I think it was in North Carolina, playing The Mutilator.
That's badass. Yeah,
That would have been awesome.
we need that down here. We need
We
Big
need
Mo.
the Big Mo to do that.
Yeah, that would be
And
great. I love it.
if I'm not mistaken, I think he was there with some of the cast,
That's even cooler,
to
man.
sign for people. Yeah.
It's cool.
hmm
Highly anticipated that Mutilator 2 coming out. That's gonna be fun.
And I'm ready for that to happen.
Yeah, be a good time.
I think last time I talked with him, they were hoping around July, but it's obviously not July anymore. So
Yeah.
I know it's been in the works. I know they're making it,
Mhm.
because he's been posting stuff.
Yep.
So I do know it's happening. Just a matter of when it's gonna be released to everyone. But I think the Terrifier 2, don't quote me, but I believe that poster said October 6th.
Yeah, sometime around October.
Yeah. It was either October 6th or October 11th. I couldn't remember
That's
which date it
perfect,
was. But
man, because you want a movie like that to be released around October. I mean, that's just it makes too much sense not to have it be released in October. So I'm pretty psyched about that. That's great news.
yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, my assistant just clarified that it is on the 6th. By assistant, I mean my wife.
yeah, you have sources.
I have sources. Yeah. Tony, so we are doing a review tonight.
So,
We've been doing some not mainstream, some modern, I guess you would say. So we decided to take a step back with this one, huh?
Yep.
I am quite excited about talking about this one.
Yeah. Go back to the glory days of the 80s when the slasher boom was in its heyday.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on what source you look at, 1982, 1983, me and you were kind of talking about that beforehand. It's shown both on the DVD I have here. It's shown 83, and then we looked it up online. It says 82. So I mean, there's conflicting dates on when the movie was released and made. So
I think it was I think it was made in the later months of 82.
probably
And it was released mid '83.
safe
Because
to
I'm wanting to say so I watched it once, and then I rewatched it. And this time I watched it with commentary.
Oh, cool. We
So
talked.
there was
Talking
some.
about doing that for a while, and I'm glad you did.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not a fan of it.
Mhm.
So this was the first time I've watched it with audio commentary. I like to hear the movie when I'm watching the movie as well. And in this case, it was almost like they just took the volume of the entire movie and just turned it down to like 2, and put the actors, actresses, and the director on like 50. So you could barely hear the movie at all, and it was just them fucking talking while I was trying to watch the movie.
It's really interesting. But I know you had a chance to see it. You saw it twice, so you
Yeah.
were able to see it. Yeah, you were able to see it before then, so you knew everything that was going on, the plot, everything. So you didn't have all that kind of ruined or tarnished for you. So that's cool. I'm glad you got
Yeah.
a chance to do that.
Yeah.
That's what kind of worries me about commentaries. I don't know how the audio is going to be set up, and if they're going to drown out the sound of the actual movie being played or not. So that's why I'm kind of leery on it. I'm only going to do a commentary if it's a movie I'm so used to seeing that I almost don't need the audio just to get through a commentary track, kind of like a movie that we've seen hundreds of times, like Halloween or something. I mean, I would do it like The Thing, something like that. I would probably do, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That always worries me. The audio.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I do have an answer for you as far as what you brought up to me over the phone a couple days ago we talked about this movie over the phone, and you raised some interesting thoughts about something that you felt about. I'm sure we're going to get into it. But yeah, they actually did talk about that on here, so I can't wait to answer that for you. That's going to be great. There's a lot that was talked about throughout the entire movie, and I did find very interesting. There was some quite interesting points, but then there was at times where it just felt like the actors and actresses were talking about their other films and their career, and I really just didn't care about hearing that. I just wanted to hear about this movie, not the 20 other films that you did in your career.
Yep. It's another thing that kind of gets me worried about some commentaries is then when they'll get off on a tangent about something that has nothing to do with the movie itself, and getting information on the movie to watch commentary on.
Right, like I was watching the interview with one of the girls that was in this movie. She wasn't even a main. She wasn't even a main in this movie, a main character. I think she was victim number 3. And I was watching the interview with her. She was bringing up some really cool, stuff about this movie and everything. And then, like, probably about 20 minutes into the interview, she was done talking about this movie, and she was off talking about the rest of her career, and like the director that she worked with, this guy named Frank, he was great, and I'm like, oh, thanks for getting off subject. Like, I mean, I get you're excited, you want to talk about your career and everything, but I mean, now don't get me wrong, interview with that person, you need to cover this mainly because it's on this DVD, and talk about that stuff. Make that the 20-minute segment.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I get it. It's just, I was just like, okay, well, I'm getting bored with this.
Right.
So, but yeah, so I did find out some really cool information though on this film.
Right. I can't wait to get into that, man.
Yeah.
But anyway, the movie in question that we are covering tonight is either 1982 or 1983, depending, is House on Sorority Row.
Yes. And folks, yeah, which at one point in time was called Seven Sisters.
I did not know that. That's one of the benefits of the commentary, I'm sure.
Yes.
That was not. I don't think that was on IMDb either. So
when they were all auditioning for the film, it was called Seven Sisters.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I just brought out the DVD cover, but I was just telling you when we were talking beforehand, I love the artwork on there. Painted artwork is always my favorite, but that purple in here is really, really just fucking awesome.
It's always popped.
And then of course the disc is purple as well, and it just makes it stand out so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch this on the Blu-ray, but that Blu-ray does not have that purple border or anything on it, so I just wanted to bring that down to show it. But yeah, that's I love when they do stuff like that, when they do the painted artwork. It's my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
I actually told you I do have a poster of this artwork that I'm really, really excited about getting framed and put up. So that's probably going to be one of the first ones I do. It's so simple yet so, I don't know, it draws you in because
I mean it's a catchy. I mean that's what artwork's supposed to do. It's supposed to draw you in.
Yeah, it's a scantily clad co-ed on the cover.
Nothing of that screams slasher film either.
It doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean,
no.
It just seems like a. I don't know. I don't know. It just doesn't. Your first thought is not slasher film.
It looks like a 60s exploitation film.
Or something like a rape revenge movie or something.
Yeah. Oh man, only if this was a rape revenge film. Yeah, so folks, if you haven't watched this movie, first of all, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. I don't know if it's on Tubi or anything else. I did see it on YouTube, actually.
Yeah, think it's
And I believe it's the cut that we're talking about, that DVD cut, the Scorpion cut. So if you haven't seen this movie, before we ruin it for you, stop right here. Go check that movie out and then come back to us.
Yep. We're in on the discussion.
Yep.
But yeah, it's an older film, so we're gonna go heavy on the spoilers and we're gonna go heavy on the discussion. So
Oh, yeah.
a warning for everybody out there, listeners, if you haven't seen the movie yet, please go check it out beforehand.
Definitely. All right. Well, now's your chance. All right. Now we're getting into it. So,
Glad that we paused for a minute for that to break.
a brief interruption.
Right.
All right. So, yeah. What's your first thoughts? I guess the opening scene. Let's talk about that.
Right away, I don't like the music. The music really, because it's
the music throughout the film or that opening sequence?
The opening sequence music, more or less. I don't like how lighthearted it is. It doesn't fit the feel of a slasher film at all, really. It feels like something you get on, like, Little House on the Prairie or something. I don't know. Something that's more family-oriented and whimsical. And definitely not slasher film. But
No.
I could kind of see why they went with this music, because in a lot of ways, this is like more of an attempt at a classy slasher movie, if that makes any sense. I mean, there is nudity in this. I mean that goes without saying.
Light
Right,
nudity.
it's likely, but they seem to take this more of in a classy route, or they want to go down. Like the director, I think the director, if I'm not mistaken, I read somewhere that he was a was it a camera operator? He worked with a big name director, and this was like one of his first features where he had like control, and he would get the green light to do his own thing, and I think he wanted to shoot more. I don't think he wanted to go necessarily for, maybe he did, I don't know. I would have to listen to the commentary, if the director's even on the commentary, I'm not sure, but it's just, for me, the feel is that they were trying to go with a serious story and a serious like movie, and they try to cut. It seemed like they try to like ease off on the gore and the kills and make it more of a, I don't know. Saying classy is kind of weird for a slasher film, but it seemed like it was wanting to go a more highbrow route.
Yeah. I think because this was actually his first feature film, and it was considered, even back then, by back in the day, I guess, standards, this was a low budget film. It shot for, I believe, 450,000 estimated, somewhere around in there. And I think maybe he took a subtle approach, Yeah. And I think for me, I think it worked. I mean, granted, you want, when it comes to a slasher, you want blood, guts, gore, everything.
I mean, maybe not even that. It's just more like more inventive kills and more creative kills. It seemed like the same fare. I mean, it's understandably, though, there is a signature weapon in this movie, so you're going to have a lot of kills with that weapon. I mean, they established that this weapon is, and the red herring thing was really pretty uniquely done as well. But it established that, listen, hey, this is the weapon that's going to be used throughout the entire movie. There's only so many kills you can do with this weapon. I mean, it's not very inventive and creative with the ways you can, pull off, creative and decent kills. I mean, it's very standard fare. So, I mean, I get it. It is what it is. But at the same time, I don't need like buckets of gore and guts. I just need more creative and less standard,
elaborate ways to kill. No, I get that. I understand that. I see your point.
Right.
I see your point, but at the same time, I also see why they did what they did. So you got your killer using the cane the entire time. We'll go ahead and say that. That's the murder weapon. It's the cane. And it's used literally on... No, there is one kill that the cane is not used in. He actually uses a knife that the girl has.
Yeah, but he still uses the cane to kind of prop her up, so he kind of uses both.
Yeah.
Just as like a tool to kind of keep her propped up.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess the cane was still involved
Yeah,
in
but it wasn't.
in the kill. But
That's probably the best kill in the movie too.
So the only reason why you think there's a red herring, and why you think that a certain person is doing all the killing, is because, for one, her body's missing, and for two, her cane is being used in all the kills.
Yeah.
So I could see why the director did that. You know. But again, I get what you're saying. I would have loved that too. I mean, not everyone can grab a teenager in a duffel bag and slam them up against a tree.
Yeah. Sure.
So again, that was another subtle approach, but I think it wasn't just used. Well, this is going to be the only weapon we use. I think it was put in there for that reason, to make the audience think this is the person that's doing all the killings.
Which, in hindsight, really doesn't make any sense. I mean, to have the audience think, especially in one sequence, that it's actually, well, I mean, you could guess that maybe there was a body wrapped up in the. I mean, we'll get into that when we get into it. We're not quite there yet, but basically, I mean, you want to talk about like the opening as far as like the period correct like opening that they did with the 50s, going back to the 50s. I mean, it's very subtle with the cars that are driven, the timeline in which it takes place, on how old certain characters are going to be now in the present time. So, you know, around the 50s and stuff, like it takes like a black and white hue, and it's a soft filter to kind of show, which is cool. I always appreciate if you're going to go throw back to a period piece that you
originally Mark wanted to do, and I believe the original filter that he used was black and white. If I'm not mistaken, the producers made him change it to a blue, like an off blue, and the reason being is because they didn't want audience members in the movie theater to watch this opener and be like, oh, this is a black and white film, and walk out, or not even come and watch the movie. So by giving it that blue filter, the audience members will automatically assume that it's going to be a color film, and that's the reason why they did that.
Well, also too, if audience short attention span, they wouldn't have to worry about that as a negative.
And I found out that the pregnant woman in the opening sequence was really a pregnant woman.
Yes, I did hear that. Yeah, I saw that somewhere.
And all the hands was the director's hands.
Wow.
So all the scenes where he was about to use that, in that opening scene where he was about to use the what do you call that knife, the scalpel. When he went to go use that to do the C-section or whatever, that was his hands.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. A little tidbit there.
Cool.
Like I said, I'm full of info on this film.
Yes, man. I got to start watching commentaries more, man.
I mean, it was informative.
Yeah, the dubbing is interesting because, like I told you, kind of beforehand, especially with the house mother. So Mrs. Slater, the woman that's giving birth in the beginning of the movie, she is the house mother of the sorority house. And it flashes back to her traumatic pregnancy and her traumatic delivery. And the doctor, Dr. Beck, I believe is his name, he was performing a unique experiment to kind of help her actually have a child, because I guess she was having trouble having children. backstory and whatnot. I'm not sure, but that was what was said somewhere along the lines from his character. And the whole experience was traumatic. It's left open ended to where the baby even survived or not. You don't know because they never say anything, and then it cuts to now present day where she's the house mother of sorority. There's basically, so the main, is there 7 sisters? Yeah, 7 sisters. Of course, that's the ultimate title. 7 main sisters of the sorority. It's graduation, everybody's leaving and stuff like that, but they decide that they want to hang around and throw a party at the sorority house because their original spot that they wanted to have the party, they're not going to have enough money for it. So they decide to hang around and throw the party there, but Mrs. Slater always closes the sorority house on a certain date. The date escapes me.
June 19th.
Thank you, Corey. I should have wrote that down. But it's a tradition of hers to shut the school down or the house down June 19th. And she's adamant about that. Every year she does. And when she finds out that the girls are still there and that they're deciding to throw a party, she's not too happy. And she gives them hell, and they decide to play a prank on her. And the rest of the movie ensues from that. But yes, there's the basic plot. And our character, Miss Slater, who is dubbed in this movie, so it's kind of off seeing her mouth move and then the voice not exactly sync perfectly. Which I watched at the time, and the dubbing wasn't as bad as I remember it. I remember it being really off, but watching it this time, I really paid attention to it, and I was like, oh, it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was, but it's still kind of off-putting because her voice is very, I don't know, it's something about it. Even before I knew about dubbing and I watched this movie, I was like, something's not right about this woman's voice. I don't know what it is. It doesn't sound right.
All right, so this is the tidbit that I was wanting to clarify with you. So she was considered local talent. So I guess in the small town that they were filming this, they were actually filming all the house scenes and stuff at like this old abandoned hospital or something. It was a small play. Well, it wasn't small. It was a big ass house, but it was like a hospital or something.
You're talking about the sorority house, right? Okay.
And even like the actors and actresses said that the pool was like the creepiest thing on set, because I mean that was all real. Like that pool was just that disgusting and stuff.
I can't wait to talk about the pool later.
But Mrs. Slater was actually not really an actress. She was somebody they hired from that local town who had acting background because she was in like the local theater. That's it. Okay. So apparently her acting skills were amazing as far as camera work. But when they went to go edit and everything and hear audio back from the film, they I guess just didn't like the sound that her voice was making through the entire movie. So they actually dubbed the entire film. So all her dialogue, every bit of it, was dubbed, and she's the only one that's dubbed in the movie.
Yeah.
And they never told her they were going to do this. They never told anyone they were going to do this. They just did it. So can you imagine going and seeing yourself and probably feeling this fucking big when that's not your voice coming out of your mouth?
Coming out of your
screen.
mouth.
That was probably a huge slap in the face.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. That's crazy, man. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, at least a phone call, something.
Right.
But, yeah, from what I understand, the actresses were saying that they didn't know that she was even dubbed over like that. And here's another little tidbit. Opening night was like in downtown New York at some shady ass theater or whatever.
Yeah.
From what I understand. And they had to pay for their own tickets to go see the movie that they starred in.
Oh, that's foul.
It's brutal. I will say that they did say that the actors were getting paid $50 a day, only when they were in front of a camera. So
Yeah.
no matter what, they had to be on set. But if they weren't filming that day, they didn't get paid.
I
The only
wonder if
time the only time they got paid was when they were in front of a camera. So a lot of times they were on set just so they could eat because they were hungry.
Yeah, interesting. I wonder if they shot it in a way that when their characters die in the movie, then they're just offset and they don't come back. Like one of those kind of. It sounds to me like based on how they're paying them scale like that, that's pretty much what they did.
Yeah. Well, they kept them on set,
It's fair. I assume.
just to, I guess, make sure that from what I understand, they kept them on set just to kind of like if they needed them that day or they needed them for a sequence.
Okay.
But they, like I said, they didn't get paid unless they were in front of the camera acting.
Wow.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it was a low budget film, and I believe they ran out of money too. He had to actually borrow money either. From what I understand, he had to borrow money from one of his family members or something just to finish the movie.
I'm telling you, man, low budget. Well, more low budget, standard budget filmmaking, horror filmmaking in the '80s was something else, man. That's why I love like getting behind the scenes on movies and stuff like that because they took so many creative avenues to make a movie actually like this come to fruition and actually be out there and that's what I love. I love hearing the behind the scenes stories on how things were made, how people had to borrow money, how they had to scramble to make sure that this was done right. I mean, the list goes on and on. It's like almost like war stories, with people fighting with the producers, and there's a lot to it. So it's really cool to hear about the behind the scenes stuff. I love the premise of sorority house slasher movies. I love.
Yeah.
It's so cliche in the slasher genre because it's used so much, but I love it personally. Just like camp setting for a slasher film, both of those settings are standard fare when it comes to slasher locations. So I love it. I always have, always will. And I just wanted to throw that out there too. It's tried and true slasher form. To set a slasher film in a sorority house. I mean,
well, I think it hits pretty close to home with us because we love Black Christmas so much.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
I think Black Christmas really set a standard when it comes to sorority house, films like this.
As far as I'm concerned, it's the gold standard. There's that is top tier. There's nothing even coming close to Black Christmas as far as the setting goes.
No. Did you almost get a vibe though on this film?
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to say that. So one of the sorority sisters, her name's Diane, and I know you're going to talk about her because of her shirt. I know you're going to bring that up, but I wanted to say that I swear this woman or the actress, her character reminds me so much of Margot Kidder in Black Christmas. It's insane. I never realized it before until this watch. I'm like, she reminds me just the way she talks, the way she's kind of smart alecky, her attitude. It's really like it's so Margot Kidder in Black Christmas. It's crazy. I never noticed that before until now.
I bet you a lot of them watched Black Christmas before making this movie just to kind of get a glimpse into, okay, the basic premise is both films take place in a sorority house, and there's a killer on the loose who lives in the attic.
Who lives upstairs, right? Who's upstairs?
And and these girls are getting picked off one by one. This is a slasher film that takes place it's basic premise of both films. So if I was to be an actor in a film and I knew the basic premise, I would think back to that way. I kind of get a mindset of how I need to act on set. Yeah. I mean, I could see them doing that. I don't know if they did that, but I could see them doing that.
So they didn't mention anything like that on the commentary at all.
And not like I said, it got to the point where I was more or less paying more attention to the movie and getting pissed off by the fact that there was no audio from the movie.
Yeah.
I muscled through it, but I mean, there was tidbits where I didn't even catch it because I was so involved in watching the movie as well.
Well, that's a good assumption. I mean, it does feel so. I mean, based on the plot.
And this movie, like you said earlier, it has a certain almost class appeal to it, and Black Christmas did too.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
Yeah. And besides the guy chanting obscene things to girls in a phone.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that's not included. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up before I did because I was going to bring that up too during our conversation. But yeah, it's just funny. Like when I was looking up a couple of things, so we have a character named Vicky, who's pretty much the mean girl of the group. She's the bitchy one, if you will. Mm-hmm. Her and Slater just bump heads all the time. They can't really stand each other. You could tell their relationship is very contentious and
oh yeah,
just always tell that there's tension between them. And she sneaks right in the beginning. She sneaks kind of her boyfriend in the house, who was teaching her how to shoot. I guess for the prank that they're gonna. Well, that she didn't bring it up to the group yet, but she was kind of setting up that she wants to do a prank on Slater just to give her shit back for all the shit that she was giving her throughout the year, or for however long their stay was there. But I realized something looking up the info on IMDb on the actor that played her boyfriend, which this is so fucking cool. I'm a huge Met fan, so when something like this happens, I bring it up all the time. But he's actually the guy that was parachuted like into Shea Stadium when the Mets won Game 6 of the World Series. He was the guy that was parachuted down and parachuted into Shea as they won the game, and that was just mind blowing to me. I could not believe that happened and that guy was in this movie. I just thought that was really neat. It parachuted in. Let's go Mets! That was a huge game, a huge shift, and man, just something that's near and dear to my heart, being such a true Mets fan and just a fan of that team. So I just thought that was really neat. So I had to bring that up. I usually do whenever I see a Mets hat or some Mets apparel in a movie that we're covering. I have to bring it up. But yeah, I thought that was a neat little piece of trivia. But yeah, she's a damn good shot, man.
Mm.
Yeah, he's kind of looking at her like, oh, she's not gonna know what she's doing, and boom, she's hitting every target like money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like that shot. I actually wrote that down. That when she was shooting, and then it was the gunshot cut scene.
Yeah,
I thought that was just so cool.
Yeah, the transition scene was really cool. I dig it too. Yeah, from the pop of the cork,
wine, champagne glass or bottle or whatever.
Yep. Yeah, that was really neat.
It's pretty cool. And in that scene, we did talk about it that, like I said, the girl was wearing a GBCB's or a CBGB's shirt. Yeah, I was like, oh, look at there, little nod to old school punk scene right there.
Mm-hmm. A club that's sadly not around anymore.
That would be awesome.
Talking about, speaking of bands, the band in this movie for the party that they're throwing. We're jumping ahead. Can we talk about the prank?
Yeah, let's talk about before the prank.
Okay. Let's do that then.
First of all,
get into it.
I'm going to backtrack just a tad. When you were talking about Vicky and you know how her attitude is different from all the other girls. There's one little dialogue that she says, and instantly I knew what kind of person she was. because she's laying in her bed, and the Mets guy boyfriend.
We call him the Mets guy.
I don't know his name, so I'm just gonna say the Mets guy. He comes in, and she's laying on her bed, and it's like this water bed. I guess it's a brand new bed for her. And she said, "Oh, what's the dialogue?" She says, "Look what Daddy just bought me," or something. So right there knows that she pretty much just has everything handed to her.
Mhm.
So that's the reason why her attitude is the way it is. I think she's a brat.
Yeah. Well, she's
Essentially.
also she's like the alpha of the group too. She kind of takes charge and takes lead. Like,
Honestly, I don't think that that's the case.
I don't know, man.
I think that everyone is just pretty much afraid to confront her. It doesn't make her an alpha.
I don't know, dude.
I
It
just,
seemed to me like she was fucking having.
I think they look up to her, but there's a couple girls that I think roll their eyes at her more so because there's that one scene again where Slater slashes her bed. By the way, who laughs while having sex? They were laughing hysterically while having sex. It was so odd to me. Like I was just like, this is kind of uncomfortable. Like,
Right.
yeah. Who makes that sound? Okay, back at it.
Not normally the sound you would associate. No.
Yeah, and I mean, and they're, like it was just almost like it was like obnoxiously doing it on purpose laughter.
Yeah. Like she knew she was like close to her room or something like that, so she was doing that just to really piss her off.
I know. I like you know how like a 5-year-old would laugh at you when you're telling them to shut up because it's just annoying.
Well, no,
That's the way it's.
I think you're right because when she's in the car with her boyfriend, she mentions something about give me a couple minutes and then follow me upstairs to my room or something like that. And he's like, "What do you mean? We usually do it in here." And so I guess she was like maybe planning on, you know, rubbing it in Slater's face or something because maybe she knew she was close to her in the same vicinity, so she would hear her. And I don't know. It's just I thought that was interesting, that little piece of dialogue. So, but yeah, that's true. She seems like the girl that was born with a silver spoon in her mouth. That she came from money, and maybe that's why she was more of the head of the group, so to speak. Because I think a lot of the girls were kind of maybe a little bit intimidated by her and her family and her whatever. I don't know.
Maybe that's it, but so that scene, Slater cuts her bed open and everything, and like Vicky's obviously very pissed off, and she's like, I'm gonna get you, fucking hag or whatever she says to her, and then she goes to storm off back down the hallway, and she busts her ass, and all the girls fucking laugh at her, and so like I don't think that they're fully intimidated by her. I think that they tolerate her, and like I said, it's almost kind of like they listen to her, they go along with her, but at the end of the day, because I mean, there's at times where a lot of them kind of, well, I don't know. She's the mastermind of pretty much that entire whole deal. Yeah. So
no, she is, because even when they were talking, they were all in the group and they were partying, they were popping champagne and they were toasting each other and everything. When Slater comes in and confronts them, why are you guys still in this house? And Diane, who seems to be she seems to be like the more contested one with Vicky. She even says that Vicky thought it was a great idea. So she's like, they're all like conceding to her and her ideas. Mm-hmm. And I really got a sense of it when they were at the pool with her after the Slater confrontation with the waterbed happened, and they're all at the pool. They're kind of stewing and still pissed off about. Well, Vicky's still stewing and still pissed off about what happened. I really got a sense that they were all kind of like intimidated by her. She was just very like an intimidating personality, and I thought that they were all just following in line so that they don't get on her bad side. Because I feel like if they didn't, she would probably make their life a living hell. I don't know. I just got that sense, and it dawned on me even more when they were talking about the setting up the prank, and she was showing them the gun and having them pass it around like, oh, show and tell at school. They're all looking at the gun like they'd never seen a gun before. Like, ooh, they were amazed by it. I don't know. I just got the sense that she was, I don't know. She had like a little control over the group, so to speak, and they were just going along with whatever she wanted. But yeah, you could see it kind of both ways too.
Yeah.
Interesting dynamic there. The only one that really stood up to her at all really was Catherine, our main girl. She really like stood up. Well, not completely, but she did voice her opinion quite a few times when Vicky was trying to get the gang to do that. I mean,
well, she definitely challenged everything.
Yeah.
You know.
But she was just so outnumbered because everyone else was going along with Vicky because they didn't want to get in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
That she.
Well, I think a lot of them were scared. You know.
Oh yeah, terrified.
Yeah. But so yeah, let's talk about that prank. Well,
Yeah.
first thing, so they're talking about the prank at the pool and everything, right? And she's like, so what are we gonna do? You know, she's like trying to fish for ideas on the prank from everyone, and then she was like, I got it. Well, don't you guys want to hear it? And then it cuts to Catherine, where Catherine's like, you know, hey, I don't know. And then she goes, well, everyone seems to like this idea, so we're gonna do it. It's like, but what are you gonna do? Like, it's just like,
yeah, it's a weird cut. It is.
It's really a weird scene because I was just like, I was so confused by that whole, just the dialogue really confused the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Because they could have just went like, oh man, this is gonna be great, and then like cut to the actual what's gonna happen, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was odd to me.
I did notice that too. I that always stood out to me. Yeah, that scene in particular.
But again, he was
about,
a young screenplay writer and director, so we can't, you know, judge based upon that.
It happens in a lot of movies.
Yeah.
This kind of stuff, but this is to me, this whole prank doesn't make any sense at all. It really does. It's so inconceivable and so dumb. I don't understand what she was thinking was going to happen, because even if you, so basically what she wants to do is take Slater's cane, which is her cane, is her baby. She's always had her cane with her. So as soon as she wakes up, her cane's gone. She knows one of the girls did it, probably Vicky. So she confronts them. Where's my cane? Why are you girls still here? And Vicky mentions something about you might want to check by the pool. So, of course, Slater goes to the pool. Everybody follows suit. The cane is resting on like a float. And it's in the middle of it's just hanging out in the pool. So she's like, she's pissed off with the girl. She's like, I want you guys to leave, this and that. And Vicky pulls the gun on her. And right away you're like, okay, even if this was a joke and this is a whole prank, you're still pulling a gun on somebody. It's not like you're doing something that's still an issue. She can still like I don't know. I just don't understand. And then the whole blank thing versus the real bullet thing. Why would you put how many blanks is in here? How many bullets is in the gun? What's going on with that? That whole scene confuses me. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if you can make any sense of it.
Maybe it was like a Brandon Lee situation.
I don't know, because obviously there's a real fucking bullet in it, because she shoots the light out, unless they put like a bomb or a firecracker or something in there.
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, I mean that's all confusing. I mean, she would have had to know what shot she was going to do at that time. Unless they were all real bullets and she fired the gun knowingly down towards that girl's leg without knowing, hey, I'm going to hit that girl's leg. She maybe missed the girl's leg. She falls down. Notice that she was like wiping blood up.
Yeah, there's
on her
clearly
sock.
something on her sock. Yeah.
Yeah, so she was like, you could, I mean, knowing it's a prank, she was wiping blood up, so there was no wound there, so therefore it wasn't a real bullet. But if you shot a real bullet at the ground and somebody goes, "Oh my God, she shot me in my leg," I mean, it happened so fast that it would probably prank a lot of people.
But
You know?
why would you? How would you explain if this was a
Because
joke?
this chick is fucking clinically insane.
That's what I'm saying. If this is a whole joke and a prank, if you still have live rounds of ammunition in that gun, and Slater calls the cops because you pulled a live gun on her, and this is that, you're going to get in more trouble than anything.
But here's the thing, okay? If you accidentally shoot someone with a blank, now granted, it's just gonna hurt. It's not gonna kill you.
It can.
I mean, I guess I don't know. I'm
like
not into
said,
guns like that. But
it killed Brandon.
This is an older woman. I think somebody actually put live rounds, if I'm not mistaken, in that gun.
Was it? I always thought it was a blank that got.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Even with that close, they're still deadly because.
But again, this is like an older woman with her skin isn't it's more fragile. So I mean, I could see that killing her if she got hit, by a blank. I don't know how blanks work, so
I don't know how.
I really don't know either.
Know how the gun works. She doesn't have a revolver. It's like a 9mm. I don't understand how this gun operates. I don't understand this whole scene is confusing as fuck to me. It really is. I can't make sense of it. I never could. I don't understand what she was thinking. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's a real sore spot with this movie for me. I just can't make sense of any of it. I know you need a plot device to have her be killed, but it seems ill-conceived, this whole scenario. I don't know. I can't make sense of it, man. I was hoping maybe you could kind of talk me through it and figure. I just can't figure it out.
No. I've been wrapping my brain around it. I'm stumped.
Well, I'm really curious what they said in the commentary during this scene.
And again, I was watching the movie more so.
I'm almost popping in just to watch the commentary just on that scene alone, just to hear what they have to say about it, because it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. It was all confusing. I mean, it's a cool prank and everything, but again, she accidentally shoots her. I don't know.
With a blank? With a real bullet? Is it a magic bullet? I don't know. You don't even see like a wound or blood or anything from Slater either. It's a weird cut to where you hear the gun go off and then she just falls back, but you don't see anything happen. You just don't know. You can assume, was it a blank? Was it a real bullet? I don't know. You just don't know. It's weird.
So then here's the thing. Okay, so they opt to. I love the fact that the band shows up conveniently while they're all hovering over a dead body.
Yeah.
But then they proceed to wrap her up and they were looking for something heavy, and I guess somebody suggested tie towels down on her. Because that'll make her fucking sink.
That'll weigh her down. I mean, it is what it is. They're panicking. The band's right there. They don't want to get caught. It is what it is. They're just. Yeah. You couldn't find a couple rocks or like stones or something to kind of throw in there to kind of. I don't know. I don't know. You're panicking. I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but yeah, it is funny. I got a laugh out of that too.
Mm-hmm. She sunk right away, and as they're walking away, she floated.
Yeah, right.
Like anybody that was trying to hide a body would have stood there for at least 30 minutes to see if they floated back up.
Yeah.
I'd have been like, oh, let's wait and see what happens. Yeah, in this case, they were just like, okay, she's fucking gone. Let's go.
Yeah. Have one of the girls run up, distract the band. The rest of us just fucking scramble to try to figure out what we're gonna do. Gotta get our story straight. Everything's got to be leveled. I mean,
Yeah.
we all have to be on the same page here.
Oh man.
The band, I love the band though, man. They're kick ass. I love them. They're playing some really cheesy tunes, but they're so much fun, and I
love how everyone was like just bopping their head,
their heads, and fucking you have fucking 40-year-olds pretending to be college students. I mean, it's funny. It just cracks me up.
I will say, so I did pay attention to the commentary in this section. Something about it took like over 17 hours just to shoot this whole scene.
Oh, really?
The party scenes. From what I understand, like there was, so in the beginning it was like everyone danced to the music, and I guess they were really playing music, but then like there had to be like dialogue and stuff in the party scenes. So people were getting confused because, or not confused, they were just, for one, they were all tired from dancing the entire time. So that's why there's a lot of people like not dancing in sequence. And also at one point they were filming while the band was fake playing. So there was no music. People were just dancing so there could be dialogue in the fucking
being on the movie set would just be so fun to see that happen.
Yeah.
I mean, just I don't know the context of it.
I would be cracking up. Like, you want this filmed in 17 hours? Try 30 hours because I'm gonna be laughing at people because they're acting fucking stupid.
So funny, man. It's so great. But it leads to one of my favorite shots in the movie where the camera pans to each girl's face.
Mm-hmm.
And I love their look of worry, and then they would look toward the next girl that they were going to show on camera, and I just love that transition in that shot. It's just great.
Yeah,
you could see the panic and fear in their eyes as they just know that something could trigger, like somebody finding the body or something, and they're just just completely worried. Their whole I'm sure that their whole year was filled with nothing but getting ready for this dance and having the time of their life, and then they end up having the most miserable time of their life.
I was thinking that because everyone was just, they were just on edge the entire time.
No one was having fun. Even when they're dancing, slow dancing and doing all this stuff, when they're having a senior moment, when the seniors come up to the dance floor, they all look so scared and just completely dreadful and worried. It's really great. It's really, I mean, the actresses, I give them credit. They really portray that fear and that sense of urgency really well.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them does. I give them all kudos for that. I mean,
you know what I found myself wondering. At one point, you see Vicky dancing with her boyfriend Mets guy.
Yep.
And then she passes him off. And then I'm like, oh, they're passing partners around or something. No, that's not the case. The entire time they're slow dancing. At this point, they're dancing with the two girls that swapped guys, and they're dancing the rest of the time with those two guys. And I just found that very odd. I found myself wondering about that. Like, why did that occur? Why did that happen?
Why did that occur? Yeah, I don't know.
What was the point? Because I thought, oh, they're switching partners here and there, but that's not the case.
The short-haired one, Liz, I think is her name. Well, there's two short-haired girls, but the one that's kind of like Vicky's stooge, her little suck up.
At this point, Stevie had been murdered.
Right. Yeah, Stevie. Which was
no, she didn't get murdered. Yeah, at this point because. They had got interrupted because it was that sequence that you're talking about where they're looking at each other and the camera's panning.
Yeah, Stevie's alive. She's one of the girls that looks.
Yeah, and they instantly were like, "Oh, somebody's at the pool," so they run out there, and then they were like, "Oh my God, the lights!"
they're so concerned about the lights, and they're so concerned about the pool that she goes in there to kind of check the lights and make sure that they don't go off, and that's when she gets killed, Stevie. Which, why the fuck are people so...
She's not the first victim, though.
No, the dude, he's worried about the flying squirrels. I fucking died. That guy's random, just chatter.
Even the death was the most random thing. Like, it's just all of a sudden, it's like, oh shit.
Happens to be a victim of bad circumstance in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Oh man, it was great.
Because he had nothing to do with anything. He just happened to be where...
Yeah, because our killer only killed the people that were involved, right? Because he didn't kill anyone outside of that.
Pretty much.
He could have been picking off people left and right at this party.
Oh yeah, easy pickings for people, for absolutely. But
he
no,
was strictly going after the girls.
Girls, yeah, for obvious reasons. So, that Steve. Which I noticed another thing. I guess we can kind of, when there's two kills in particular that the killer kind of uses his toys as bait for the girl. So, because one of them was Stevie with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
She's distracted by that, and then another one's with Morgan with the Jack in the Box.
Mm-hmm.
So,
which I love that. I love that kill.
Yeah, and
it's so simple.
It is really simple.
It's like I'm scared out of my mind. Something's going down. I'm unsettled, and yet I'm gonna stop and smile at this Jack in the Box.
Well,
that's just here. Why is it there? Like, I would instantly be like, who the fuck put this here? Yeah, why is this here?
It's proven that she's not very bright at all, and that she's very childlike almost, and her attitude and her, because she's basically very childlike. I mean, she acts like a child, and she's not very bright. So it makes sense for her character to die that way. Any other character that would have been put in that scenario probably wouldn't have reacted the same way she would, but she was, she's a special one, that one.
And I'm wondering if they built that ledge that she stepped out on or something, because I did notice that when she stepped down off of that step, the whole floor actually sunk.
Wow.
Like, I actually saw that and I was like, I wonder if that was just like some plyboard or something to make it look like a, kind of like a ledge out of her door or window.
Right.
I found it very interesting. I surely wouldn't be standing on something that was like rotting or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, I'm every bit of 220, so I would have went through it.
Yeah, I never caught that before. Oh, that's
good. I did notice it did like pooch down a little when she stepped out on it.
You know what I noticed? Watching it this time? So Catherine is our prototypical final girl, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, basically, yeah. I noticed something watching it this time around that I never really picked up on until now. You notice that when they're at the party, all the girls out of the 7 are dressed up to the nines. Like, they're all dressed up very nice in dresses and this and that. Catherine's the only one that's not dressed up very pretty or done up really well and this and that. And it really, I love that because it plays into her character. She's the only one that really feels guilt. She's the only one that really concerns herself with trying to get to the police and make sure that Slater's still out there or that she doesn't need help. She's not bleeding out somewhere. So it plays in her psyche and her character a lot that she's the only one that's not dressed up like she's going to a party or she's going to a dance. She looks like she's dressed like very plain Jane. I mean, very simple. And especially given the fact that she's set up for a blind date, she doesn't even attempt to, because she's so distraught with what's happened, and she's so. But all the other girls are dressed up to the nines, like they're playing it off. So I love that they did that because it plays into each one of their characters. The other girls out of the 7 are basically pawns for Vicky, and they don't want to get in trouble. They don't want to get arrested or anything like that. So they're like the sheep. So they're dressing up very pretty, very proper, all dresses and this and that. And Catherine's the one, she's like the black sheep. She's the only one that stands out because she's the only one that cares. She's the only one that has like a genuine guilt and and sorrow. So I love that they did that. It's very subtle. It's something small you wouldn't even notice, but I noticed it this time,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to
Yeah,
bring.
you're right. And it kind of, given the way she's dressed, it's almost like she's got a survival instinct to her.
Right.
You know, something about her like is. I mean, she stands out. She's definitely different from the rest in the crowd.
100%.
You know, yeah.
You know who I feel out of all the characters in this movie? You know who I really feel bad for?
Peter.
I feel so bad for Peter,
Poor
man.
Peter. I actually wrote that. I was like, poor Peter. That
He's
guy
like,
gets handed shit left and right.
he is like the nicest dude ever. He's
He
really
really is. He's a
cool,
genuine guy.
a gentleman. He wants to woo Kate. He wants to, show her a good time. He seems like he's not in it for just to get in her pants or anything like that. He seems like a genuinely nice dude, and she shits on him and
So
gives
much.
not out of spite or anything, just because of what she's doing and what she's hiding and what's going on, just circumstance. You could tell, like, if none of this happened and Kate was set up with this guy on a blind date and everything was normal and this, you could tell that those two would hit it off. There'd
Yeah,
be
I think
something
so.
special there. There'd be a connection there, and that they would be a nice little couple or something like that. But you can tell, and it makes it even more tragic that her personal life is affected by this as well, because she's missing out on a great connection because she doesn't want him involved and doesn't want him to know too much. So it's really sad. It's really just a downer
Yeah.
for Peter.
He picks up on it right away, because he actually finds her in her room,
Yeah.
and he's like, hi, I'm I'm the blind date guy, and he's talking to her for a minute. He could tell something is on her mind, and instead
Well,
of
she's not hiding it really well either.
yeah, but she's also not letting him in as well. I mean, he's a complete stranger. I wouldn't let somebody in, right away like that. But if he, he was just like, hey, and he could tell something was on her mind, so he was just like, hey, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah, he's like, blind dates are stupid anyway. I'll leave you be. And then he tried to leave. He tried to leave graciously.
Yeah. And she was like, no, because she feels for the guy,
Yeah.
So it's really a sad situation. Like you said, her love life is affected. Really, her entire life is affected at this point. Because even throughout, I did notice the way she was acting throughout the rest of the film. You could just see like her nerves being shot and stuff like that.
Yeah, she's red.
She's. I mean, I think she's affected the most. Everyone else kind of had it made. They got killed off, and with her being the final girl, she was completely screwed there.
Into that ending brilliantly, which I can't wait to talk about when we get to it. I'm not going to do that now. I'm not going to jump the gun. But yes, it plays into that ending brilliantly. Yeah, I had to mention poor Peter. The poor guy, he just can't catch a break. He's trying. He's like, hey, you want to dance? She's like, no, maybe later. And
he's like, well, you want a drink?
Get you something to drink? She's like, no, not right now. He's like, all right, well, I'll be back. I'm gonna go get me something to drink. And he just excuses himself. He's so gracious and nice, and it's just so sad, man.
Yeah.
You gotta feel for the guy. But yeah, as soon as I said, you know who I feel bad for, you were right on it. You know.
Yeah,
exactly.
I felt so bad for Peter. And then what happens to him? I'm just like, oh. Because you can tell he can't hold his liquor very well.
No, he's a lightweight when it comes to.
Because he definitely passed out in the car a little bit there when he went to go leave. We'll get into that.
Yep.
We got to mention this. We got to talk about it. I'm a sea pig.
Oh God, why are people so obsessed with jumping in this nasty ass pool?
I don't get it. I would have taken one. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Actually, I have swam in a pool that disgusting before. Actually, granted, it didn't have leaves and shit floating all over the place.
And bits of chicken, because remember they were throwing chicken. Vicky was throwing chicken into the damn pool. the beginning. She was just because there was nothing like she's like fuck it, why not? There's no one's cleaning the fucking thing. It's just here. No one ever does it. I'm just gonna throw chicken in there.
I've swam in a green pool before.
Ugh, dude.
I'm not gonna lie, I've done that.
Not for me, man. Now, Corey, were you a little drunk when that happened?
No, I think I was like, how old was I?
Not drunk, because obviously.
No, I mean, no, I wasn't. No, well, no, it was. We were visiting family in like Texas, and they were like, we swear that we clean the pool. We just don't know why it's green. You can get in it. I was like, it's a pool.
I wouldn't advocate in it. Drunk anyway, but you know, if you're a little tipsy and you have the thought process of
yeah, in my early days, if I was partying, I'd have been like, fuck it, let's get in it.
Yeah.
I'd have been the guy going, I'm a sea pig.
The fat guy. I love how he tells his friend, he's like, go ahead, man, jump in. He's like, hold on, I gotta stretch first. He's doing fucking stretches.
Dude just kicks him in his ass.
It's so great. And the guy's like, fuck it, get in the pool, and he kicks him.
And then notice he's the only one in the pool.
Yeah. He's the only one. No one else.
And then all the girls come up and all the girls, because at the time, okay, so the girls aren't in the pool just yet.
No.
So yeah, at the time he and all the girls walk up and he's like, I'm a sea pig. So odd to me.
So fucking weird. The people's fascination with that dirty ass pool in this movie. I don't. First of all, and then another thing. These two dudes that are swinging this girl, like they're gonna toss her in the pool. Who the fuck does that? Like, if you're trying to impress women and trying to get laid, why the fuck would you even think, hey, me and another buddy, we're gonna grab this chick and throw her in the pool. It's really gonna get her in the mood. And this is
wasn't she like the kind of the goody two shoe of the group, kind of the plain Jane? Because she was one of the seven, right?
No, this was just some random ass girl. No, I think it was. Wait a minute, wasn't that?
It was the girl that got it in the bathroom, dude.
Was it her? I didn't even realize. I thought it was just some random chick.
No, it was her.
Oh wow, I did not know that. I wasn't.
Yeah.
No shit.
Because I found it odd because everyone they were. So she was about to get tossed in. They stopped her by saying, "Hey, there's a wet T-shirt contest."
And that's another thing that doesn't make any sense.
But she was wearing white already, so if they really just wanted to see that, they could have just tossed her in and seen it.
She said there's a wet T-shirt contest going on in there. The guy takes like 2 or 3 steps, turns around and says, yeah, right, and then throws her in the pool. He didn't even verify. He didn't go to the pool. He just assumed that she was lying right after she told. There's weird things that are happening in this.
Yeah.
There's just odd choices that are made. It's just weird. Like, okay, you saying that that's the goody two shoes. I don't agree with why they're doing this, but it makes sense being like a dude probably that got spurned by.
That's the thing. That's the thing. The girl that they were about to toss in, they didn't toss in.
Yeah.
They kicked a different girl in the pool.
Right. They kicked the CBGB's girl. I think it's Diane. Yeah, Diane in there.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I like Diane. You have to do Diane like that. I liked her. She was feisty.
That's the scene that led up to Stevie's death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just thought that was odd. That there's a lot of odd things in this movie I can't explain.
There is.
Weird scenes and things that happen. I'm just like, what, why? And I never concern myself with shit like that too often. But with some of the stuff that happened here, I'm just like, some of the things are just so weird and nonsensical. I just can't make any sense of out of why they're happening. I don't fucking know. But yeah, there was the scene where she finds the shrine room in the attic was really cool. But she is looking around and sees all the toys, and obviously, so you're like, is Slater cracked? Did she lose her child?
Well, that's the thing that confused me, man. Because did she have a kid? You know, I mean, the thing is in the beginning of the movie, the doctor's there. She gives birth. She's like, "Where's my child? Where's my baby?" And they were like, "He didn't make it." So
Well, yeah.
they point blank told her he was gone.
Corey, that she asked, "Where's my baby?" And it cut to his boy. It cut to the doctor, and he kind of had that look of like, "I'm sorry," but he never really said anything. And she
Okay, I
she
thought he
started
did.
screaming. No,
I,
that's the thing. That's a weird thing about it.
okay.
So, because if they were to do something along that, like the movie plays out up until that point that Slater's the one that's cracked. Like she's gone
Yeah.
through a mental breakdown after that traumatic birth, and she's slowly deteriorating, and she's going to snap. And that's what the movie is leading you to believe.
Mhm.
But lo and behold, no, Slater did have a child, and the child is the one that's slowly losing it and starting to crack. So the doctor says, yeah, patient has a tendency for violence or is shown to be prone to violence and this and that. So you assume, not knowing what happened in the beginning, because it's never really said, that they're talking about Slater. So you're assuming that Slater is the killer, is the red herring after all. But no, the child was born, but it was a traumatic birth, and I don't know if I still don't know if it's a disfigured child or
It says it through dialogue
I don't remember that part.
because
If it
there's the doctor is talking to Catherine, and he actually does say that Eric was born with deformities.
oh, I thought he said abnormalities.
Maybe that's what he said.
I remember abnormalities. I remember him saying something like that.
But again, like when you sit there and say abnormalities, I mean, like this is a normal human body. Like what? Like did he have lumps on his face? Did he? You know?
Right. Or is it abnormalities in his mind, his brain? You would assume because when they're looking at the X-rays, they're seeing like very, very odd images of the brain, and there's like spider web or spider. I don't know what you would call like roots. I don't know the right terminology, but it doesn't look right. Something looks off.
Yeah.
This CAT scan or this X-ray, and you're assuming once again that this is Slater because it's not said for sure that her son is the one that is the killer because he saw what happened to his mom and he revenge on the girls. So you don't know that at that point, so you're just assuming that it is Slater. She's the one that's going through it. But then it doesn't make any sense because when the girls look for her body and they can't find it, and then it falls out of the attic, how would she get if she wasn't dead? How would she get up in the attic and fall out from the attic? And so obviously somebody else is there, unless they thought that was another body. I don't know.
Well, they thought it was Miss Slater. They thought maybe she had just climbed up there to hide out.
How in the hell would she climb up there and then found herself back in towels and stuff?
I don't know.
Weird. It doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
So their thought process is kind of askew.
My thought process would be somebody carried her up there.
Somebody, obvious, yeah. Obviously that would
But then later on, Catherine thinks that maybe the body was Stevie's because they never found Stevie's body.
Okay.
So
did the girls know at that? I don't think the girls know at that point.
Not at the time. No one knew that somebody. All they knew was that Stevie was missing.
Yeah.
That she maybe had left.
Right. They assumed that she just took off. Right.
Yeah.
So it's weird. Who would they think would be in the body for the Slater?
Right.
I don't know. Once again, another instance where I'm like, I don't get this.
I think that would have been a more fitting storyline. Tell you the truth, I think that would have been fun. That Stevie was the one that they found in the attic, and your killer was Slater.
Right, because at that point, for me anyway, as an audience member or somebody watching the movie, you see the body up in the attic and stuff like that, and you're like, okay, the killer's obviously not Mrs. Slater. It's got to be somebody else then. That kills the whole red herring thing right then and there for me. And I'm sure a lot of other people, like, you see that and you're like, okay, there's no way she, in her bound, tied up state, went up in the attic by herself and then just lay there and then waited for somebody to open. No, she didn't even open it. She just fell out of the attic door. Or the door. I don't know.
My thing is he must have redressed her or something. I don't know. He must have rewrapped her or something, because it shows him taking her fucking clothes off in the fucking woods.
Yeah. Fucking, I don't know, man. There's so many confusing things. And
so what did you think about the whole doctor situation? You know, so at this point, all the girls are pretty much killed off, other than a small handful. And hold on. So we got to talk about this. So they take the body and they put it in a dumpster.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Which, yeah, if you're trying to discreetly get her out of there and take her to the graveyard, one of the girls is like, hey, what about this? And they use the dumpster, so pushing the dumpster. What are the odds that they push this dumpster into a cop car that's just down the street from their sorority house, not realizing that there's a party going on? Obviously, there's a party going on. It's a madhouse over there. There's a live band playing. There's going to be noise. It's just weird.
There is no way in hell that them pushing that dumpster that fucking slow for that, like, that cop was just parked there, and there was that much damage. I just can't believe that there was that much damage to that cop car.
Not only that, but the guy pulls him aside. The cop pulls him aside, calls it in as a hit and run or something like that.
No, a fender bender.
A fender bender or something. Okay, yeah, it can't be hit and run because he has the fucking suspect right there. But he said something along the lines of, so it's on the radio as an incident. And then right before, he's like, why would you ask them what they have in there? It's trash. It's a dumpster. Yeah. What else do they have in there? It's ironic because they obviously do have a body in there, but who's going to assume that these two college girls are going to be hiding a body in a dumpster and they're pushing it?
If I was a cop, I would have believed their story. Or taking the trash out. And he's like, you're taking trash out at 1:30? She goes, we always take it out on Friday nights.
Yeah, there's a party going on now. Did you not hear it? What the fuck are you doing sitting here anyway? There's no reason for you to just be parked here. It's so bizarre, dude. That's another sequence that's weird to me. And then he's like, what do you got in there? And he tries to open it up, and then they call him back to the station. So he's like, you guys just take off. You already called the thing in.
Yeah.
How can they just take off? I don't know how this works. This movie
there's more flaws with this movie than anything, come to think of it.
I never paid attention. I've seen this movie a couple times. I never thought about it, but when you're watching it in a more critical eye, because we're doing a review on it, discussion on it, there's a lot of confusing parts.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not saying that everything's negative. There's some great scenes in this movie, like the chase scene with, I think her name is Jeannie, in the bathroom. That sequence is brilliant. I love that because there's so much tension, and then when he turns the water on and the steam starts coming,
the detail in that whole scene was just so amazing, because even down to, there was condensation and stuff on the walls. I dug it. I thought that was a really cool shot.
That whole sequence was so tense and so well done. It stands out to me in this movie as one of the best. Like I said, probably the best kill, even though you don't really see it. It's more implied than anything. But the reveal, the aftermath of the kill is really cool, with her head in the toilet. Her head in the toilet. That was fucking gnarly. The most gore you get in the movie by far.
Hmm.
And at that scene, and that whole sequence just blew me away. I love that.
Well, you know what? I think a lot of it got cut for.
And it could have.
I think a lot of it got cut for maybe they didn't want it to be as gory as it was made out to be because in one of the interviews, the girl that gets it in the van. By the way, that's a bitchin' van.
Yeah, I had to write it. I had to put it on my letterboxes. Great movie vans. That's in there.
I will say, we
Had a
just
race.
actually we had a van at our shop that it was like an old '80s Dodge van,
Hmm.
and it reminded me of that thing. I mean, it has a little kitchenette and everything in it. It was pretty kick-ass.
Yeah.
Shag carpet everywhere, big ass bed in the back. I
Yeah.
dug the shit out of it.
Hanging. She even
Yeah.
no, it wasn't even
It
a
was
radio.
it was a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never see that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a radio.
The van
Oh, yeah.
that I'm talking about at our work, it had a phone in it too and everything. It was
Fucking-
kick ass.
That's something you don't see very often. That's
Nah.
really
But going back to that scene though, the girl, all you see is her, like the killer climbs in through the sunroof and stabs her in the hand, right? She actually confirmed that in the interview they had to do a full body cast of her because she was stabbed repeatedly in her upper torso with the cane. But you don't see that in the movie. All you see is her getting her hand stabbed and she screams. So I think that was cut.
yeah.
So
To
I
me,
I think a
that's
lot of the kills were quite elaborate. They just weren't on screen
I-
because we at that time had a rating system that was garbage.
right. Not knowing that tidbit, now I'm starting to think the MPAA had a lot to do with it, and even now realizing when this movie came out, you have to realize 82, 83. That was the tail end of the slasher boom from 81.
Mhm.
So the MPAA was coming in hard on slasher movies at that time because of
Yeah.
what a lot of, especially a lot of Savini's effects were able to get done, like stuff with the Prowler, the burning,
Even the original Friday the 13th.
of
I mean,
course.
Kevin Bacon arrow through the neck. That was gory as shit.
Yeah. So you could tell. I mean, not knowing, I didn't realize that that bit of trivia. I thought they were editing those kills a little differently to kind of classy up the movie. It could have very well been the MPA just hounding down the directors, the producers about, hey, this needs to be cut. This is too long of a sequence here of gore. You can't have this much, and you know how they do. We talk about it all the time. So it very easily could have been the MPA.
Hey, pick one. Either she gets slit in the throat or you see her boobs. I mean,
Right.
you can only have one.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, seeing Vicky in all her glory was nice, I will say. But you expect that in slasher films, especially at this time. You have to have some sort of nudity. And
Yeah.
Vicky,
That's funny because there isn't a whole lot though.
no, there's not. But
Yeah.
the nudity that we did get, Vicky is very sexy. I love me some Vicky. So that was wonderful. That was great. Thank you. Kudos for leaving that in there. But yeah, man, like I said, MPA had their thumbprint all over. I see that. No doubt about it. It's what they do. That's their track record. It's what they're known for. Butchering these movies and taking out all the gore. And it's so unfortunate.
Yeah.
It really is.
It kind of goes back to kind of like the story with My Bloody Valentine.
Oh God, that's one of the biggest victims of that. Was all that footage, and now a lot of that footage is now lost. And they did what they could with the uncut version, what they could, but there's still some death scenes in there that they're like, the director's like, I swear I shot that. I know it was shot. So where is it? It's gone. It sucks, man.
Cut and tossed.
Yeah, fucking A.
Yeah. Sad.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the effects of that era were like a spectacle, man. You want to see that stuff. You want to see what they can do and the creativity that goes into it. It's just like it's hindering that process, and it's really sad.
Mm-hmm.
That's more aligned to what I think about it now is how tragic it is that these guys that spend so many hours and countless days putting the work and thought into these effects and playing it out in the scene just for somebody in an office building in New York or wherever saying, hey, that needs to be cut out of the movie completely. It's just it's so frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Not fair. I was listening to a review, and I'm sorry I'm getting off on a different story, but this seems relevant to what we're talking about. I was listening to an interview with Rick Baker, an amazing effects artist, wonderful, did effects for American Werewolf in London, countless other movies, Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
He was talking about how frustrating it was as an effects artist at that time, putting in all this thought process and working with the director and coming up with storyboards and this on how they're going to shoot the scene, actually getting the materials made, and hours and hours and hours of work and blood, sweat, and tears been put into something, only for someone in an office building to say, hey, we got to cut that out of this movie completely. I would be infuriated if that would
Yeah.
piss me off to no end.
Yeah.
So he even mentioned that. He's like, it's so frustrating. And he said a lot of times I wanted to just quit the business and just stop because I was getting hampered with it and they were taking away what I wanted to create.
Well, it's an art, and it's
It
somebody's vision, even though it's gory and gross and, it's sickening to others, but it's a form of art. And when you're telling an artist, you're only restricted and limited to what you can do. I mean, that is a kick in the teeth. I could see that.
sad.
Definitely. Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry to
I'm glad that we live in a day and age where it's a little more relaxed.
Oh yeah, I mean they're showing more stuff on TV now that they wouldn't even think to show in the 80s with
Yeah.
something. I mean, just insane the amount of gore that they're showing on TV now
Oh yeah.
for everybody to see. I mean, so it's I don't know. It's just weird how that society's become desensitized to violence now. So we're just getting away with all sorts of gore and depravity on TV, and it's all good now.
Yep.
But if we show one extra second of a slit throat in this movie, it has to be cut because it's too obscene for the audience members to see. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. All right. So I asked the question, what's your thoughts on the whole doctor
Sorry.
and Catherine scene? No, I'm trying to go back to where we were talking.
So
what's your thoughts there? Like, even like him, down to him like pretending he called the cops,
Yeah.
Like even down to this point, he's just trying to cover it up at this point.
Right, which he says, I'm trying to cover it up because if it comes out that I did this, I'm going to be ruined. My reputation is going to be ruined. Mm-hmm. So he was worried about more his reputation than anything. He seemed like to care about that more than anything. But,
well, dealing with experimental stuff, if the truth came out, then his license as a doctor, he would have to stop all his practices and everything.
Oh, he would lose his license. He would definitely be flat on that. He wouldn't have a prayer. There would be nothing for him to do. He would probably throw in jail. I mean, there's a whole bunch of charges that can be put on it for sure, dude. My anxiety was going through the roof though when I was watching them two question each other and not answer each other's questions. I'm like, somebody answer a fucking question. Like, he would ask her, "Where is Mrs. Slater? Have you seen her?"
And then she would follow it with another question.
I'm like, "Will somebody answer the other person, please?" That was driving me crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the character of the Doctor, to just be like to add into the red herring of Mrs. Slater being the one that's cracked or this and that, because his brief interaction with her in the beginning where he's like, you're thinking he's talking about her, but she's like, I know how to deal with this and everything like that. So you're thinking she's talking about her own well-being, but he's talking about her son, but he's not wanting to say it. He's being very picky about the information he gives out because he doesn't want too much to come on him to be his fault. It's fascinating. And then his whole plan to use her as bait. Is that what we're getting with? Is that what you were really asking me about the bait thing? Yeah. I mean, it makes sense for him to use her because she is the last one of the group that's alive. Everybody else has been taken out. And we find out that it's Eric or Mrs. Slater's son that's doing the killing. And for him to use her as bait to dope her up, which has a side effect on her, which is great. The scene where she's seeing Mrs. Slater and her dead friends they're trying to beckon in her to go with them, to follow them, to really just, it's her guilt and her repression from everything that's, happened to her. That's showing. And I love the psychological angle. You don't see that very much in slasher films. That's a pretty cool take on it, and I appreciate that. I
dug it. Yeah. It was very trippy.
It was very trippy. It was very creative.
Yeah.
I give them credit for everybody dressing up the set, to the makeup with they look like, which I didn't talk about the reveal of the bodies when they turn on the light being in the pool. I love that. Love that reveal. Great.
I did too. Even down to the chase scene with Catherine, where she ends up in the bathroom and she's revealed the head in the toilet. I thought that was neat too.
Like a lot of reveals are great in this movie.
Yeah. It was definitely well put out. Even when they revealed that the two girls were dead at the cemetery as well.
Yeah.
How they were just tossed in the ground.
Yep. And then you see when they the doctor unwraps the the towels and stuff, and you see that Slater's still back there. And they're like, okay, yeah.
Well, because at that point she then realized, well, maybe that was Stevie that was up there, because I think they had found the two the dead bodies in the pool, and then she was like, that's when she confessed, we hid her body and everything in the pool, and she was pouring her heart out to this doctor in the car, and I noticed that's when she came up with the idea, oh shit, maybe Miss Slater isn't dead at all. She's the one that's doing all this. We never found Stevie's body, so maybe Stevie was the one we found in the attic.
Interesting take. I wonder if even for just a second, Dr. Beck thought that Mrs. Slater was doing the killing.
Maybe.
I'm wondering about that, because he keeps asking her where Mrs. Slater is. And I'm wondering, is he asking because of the fact that he might think that she's went crazy because they haven't shut the house down and she's off in these kids? Or I wonder if he's wondering because where's Mrs. Slater? So I know that she's corralling her son. And I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think what his thought process is, because he's not openly saying that Eric's still around until they know, Catherine knows for sure. And we, the audience, know what's going on. I mean, we got an idea, but it's the final reveal at the end. So then you have no choice. You know what's going on. So
it's kind of funny, because on the way to the cemetery, she's confessing everything to the doctor, and then on the way back to the house, he's confessing everything to her.
Right, do a complete switch up. Yeah,
I like that. I really did dig that.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm with you on that, dude.
The scene where, and again, poor Peter comes in effect.
Poor guy. He just can't.
Once again, you thought they were done with Peter. No, he gets fucking shot by the doctor.
And then I'm like, I wonder if somebody would think for a second, like, holy shit, is Peter Mrs. Slater's son? Like, oh, that would be fucking crazy. That'd be a crazy reveal. But no, it's not the case.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would really be interesting. That would have been a really cool twist had they pulled that off.
It's a really interesting idea, but I'm glad they didn't.
Mhm.
And in hindsight, because he's such a nice guy and you like his character, you don't want to think of him as the guy that's the killer. Even though that's not saying that we don't have, slasher killers that we like or we, not agree with. Yeah, I don't know. It's always you live vicariously through what they're doing or whatever. And not saying that, but you're like, the whole thing with Jason is like, oh, well, Jason's taking out these slutty teens and these horrible people and this and that. So you as the audience member are like living through Jason and seeing, that whole thing.
And again, there's similarities there.
Right.
Because Jason, once again, is killing because he saw the demise of his mother. In this movie, Eric is killing because he saw the demise of his mother.
I think a lot of slasher movies do that because if you notice a lot of, just in history in general, a lot of serial killers have mommy issues.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a template for, studios and producers and filmmakers to, if they're making a slasher movie, that's a template for them. I mean, there's always have to be some sort of, Maniac did it, of course. I mean, so many movies, Friday the 13th. I mean, just tons have used that template.
Mm-hmm.
So it's standard fare. And I mean, it makes sense. It's the psychology of it all.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. In these scenes, there's something that occurs that I did not like. First and foremost, I love the fact that it's a very interesting situation he puts Catherine in because he's like locking all the doors and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, this is the only way in this room. You're the bait.
You're the bait. Yes, the way he said it.
Oh, that's. I mean, there's so many ways you could have said that without saying that way. But one of the things I didn't care for was the fact of like how lethargic and everything they made this girl look within the matter of just a couple hours of her getting the sedative and everything. Because she looks done. Like her teeth are yellow all of a sudden. Her face is cracked looking. Not cracked looking. Her lips are cracked, like chapped, and her eyes are like sunken in and black.
Yeah,
and
black around underneath her eyes. Yeah,
it looks like she's been starving for like 2 weeks. I'm like, what's going on? Why does she look this way? She looks really terrible. But I think it's an added touch because her acting skills really show in the scene where she sees Vicky and the other girl down in the ground. Because the way she's like her, grabbing her fingers and pulling on them, stuff like that. Her nerves are fucking shot.
Little things like that go a long way. Yeah,
I really dug it, and just her mannerism, the way she was kind of moving and looking, just really honed in on her acting abilities right there. That was really cool.
Really honed in on her character. You can tell that she really added extra touches for this character, and she really understood the character, and she wanted to bring those dynamics out and show them on screen. Even the scene when she's waiting for Eric to come up the attic steps and she's holding the gun and she just, she's kind of like trying to keep focused, and she's really doing a lot there to show the emotion of her, really being strung out, but still like fighting for her life and trying to survive. And it's a really good final girl moment, the actress that plays Catherine, I don't think she gets a lot of credit for her being a final girl in horror history. I mean, she really is a good actress. I mean, really putting it on for this and doing a lot of small things and the nuance to her character to really bring it, set it aside from other characters that have portrayed final girls. I mean, or that had been final girls. So I think a lot of that goes into it with a lot of the nuance that you're talking about and that we watched this. So yeah, I completely agree, man. I completely agree. But that reveal of him being behind her is great.
I love that shot.
In the sister outfit.
I love that shot. Well, you could tell she's just done, and she's like, so she's got the gun. I thought it was really interesting the way that she did. She was trying to lure him in like a child.
Yeah, because you wonder.
Because she didn't know that he had already done that with some of the girls, luring him in like that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
And so she sat there. She played his music box. Now my thing is, and again, here it brings up something else that's fucking confusing. Like, he just knew that she was going to go to the attic, you know?
Right.
So, like, instantly he was like, you know what? She's in the bathroom, but I bet you she'll come to the attic at some point. So I'm just going to head up here and get dressed like a fucking clown.
Yeah, it's hard.
Wait.
I want to critique it, but it's such a good reveal that it's hard for me to critique it.
It's a kick-ass shot. But one of the things that I really liked that she did as an actress, and even like I was sitting up late at night watching this movie, and when she popped that toy box down with the Jack in the Box down and started playing the music, I'm not gonna lie, that music was putting my ass to sleep.
Yeah.
But like, you could tell it was putting her to sleep too, because there was a couple times where she dozed off, you know, in that moment. So
yeah.
But I really dug the hell out of it though, you know, because he just looks up all of a sudden. It's like, oh, holy shit, he's right beside her.
Speaking of looking up, I wanted to bring this up too. When the Dr. Beck kill, which is another pretty good kill, when he's opening up the doors, opening up the doors, trying to find Catherine because she got away, and he thinks for a second, he opens the door, and he thinks for a second he found her, and it's Eric, and he hits him with a cane, and he stumbles back, and he going toward the steps of the top of the railing of the staircase, and he gets hit again, and he tumbles down the stairs. It's a great way for his character to get killed. But I think one of the creepiest shots in the movie is when Catherine peers over the railing and sees Eric standing over the dead body, and he looks up. His face is so fucking creepy, dude. I don't know if it's a mask that he's wearing, because there's just blank. There's nothing. There's like no eyes. It's just black, and it's a distorted face looking, and it just looks like a mask. But I don't know if it's his face or it's supposed to be wearing a mask. I don't know.
It's supposed to be a prosthetic or something.
Dude, it's fucking creepy. If you pause it, it's like something out of a fucking nightmare. Seeing that face, I don't know. To
me, I got almost like a Leatherface vibe, like he was wearing like human skin on his face.
But that's the thing. Like, you don't see. You're assuming that it's a mask, but you don't know what he looks like, so you don't know. You can't say for sure. And then when he's in the jester outfit, it looks like a normal stunt guy with the eyes and expression, because he actually is showing eyes there. So there's expression there and everything. And there's hair. You see a shot where he's silhouetted like a madman shot where his fucking hair is all over the place.
Yeah.
But then when you look down, when she looks down on the mask, or I don't know if it's a mask, I don't know if it's a face, I don't know, but the face is like someone that's like bald, and they have like sides and nothing there, but you see it, so you don't know what this dude looks like. You have no fucking clue.
Yeah.
And to me, that's more creepy than anything. It really it takes me back to Michael Myers, how haunting and creepy it is, him just being a blank, emotionless face behind this mask. You don't know what his face looks like until they do the reveal. But that, to me, is more effective than anything, because you don't know what he looks like. You really can't assume. And in this movie, I think his reveal on what he looks like and stuff is brilliant, because they don't show anything. They make you don't know what he looks like. It's creepy. You seriously pause when he's looking up at her, and the dead body, like the dead Dr. Beck's there, and he's dead, and he looks up at her. That's a fucking creepy looking face, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I had to throw that out there. That was wild.
I dug that shot.
Yeah.
And then of course she tries to shoot him, and she can't get the gun to work.
Mhm.
I love the fact that in the attic scene she like shoots at him like 3 times, and then she's like, "Oh fuck it," and just throws the gun at him.
Yeah. So I was gonna, but I love that like there's a blade hiding in this toy.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah, again, something that just should not be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless he, I don't know, unless he was killing animals or something with that thing. I don't know, because he killed his bird that he had up there.
Yeah.
That's when you knew shit was real, when you saw that dead bird. And I love that scene with Peter. She's like, Peter, go. You have to get out of here. It was like, fuck. Like the shit ramped up there for a second.
And again, Peter's like, "What the fuck? Like,
What's happening?" And he's like, he's drunk too, so it's like you feel even more bad for the guy because he's not even able to process all this because he's tipsy.
you know what?" And I thought about that too. Like, what if he's Slater's child? Because at one point he gets on that little
Yeah.
red tractor, and he was like, "I had one of these when I was a kid."
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, hey, you know, that could have been a thing. Who knows? But one of my final notes on Catherine's character is at the end I said, this girl is going to go on to have the worst survivor guilt of all time.
assuming she survives.
Yeah. Because you just like, she's seen every one of her friends get killed. Well, not seen it, but she's witnessed that their bodies are all mangled and all over the place. So she knows she's the only one left. And she's the only one that wanted to call the police. And she's got survivor's guilt. She's never going to lead a normal life again. She's going to be fucked this for life.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I had to write that down. I'm like, this poor girl.
So she stabs him several times. He falls down. And then she just kind of rolls over and maybe in a state of shock, falls asleep.
I think a shock. She's exhausted. I mean, there's a lot going in. I completely saw her like done as like she's checked out, both physically and mentally. She's just done. She's been so much turmoil in this whole sequence. She's just checked out. She's done. Which it's fine. It doesn't bother me at all. I completely get it. She's doped up still. She's got all this going, but then also she's like just exhausted. Like it's what it is.
I mean, so here's my thoughts. Okay, so you see his eyes open, and then that's the end of the movie. Do you think she got away?
I think they left it up, like most movies. They left it open to a sequel. Thinking it was going to be big, and it might have underperformed, and that's why they never explored doing a sequel. But it seemed like all movies had to leave a sequel opening for an ending with a sequel opening. So I don't know. You could assume that she didn't realize she was done. I mean, it makes sense because she's done. She's checked out. She's like falling asleep. You could come there and kill her. Could see that happen.
Yeah.
I
don't think Eric's the type that would just get up and go, you know what? Fuck this.
He might. Bail. This chick is a lot tougher than I thought. Maybe I should just, while she's.
But how much of an easy target to just go ahead and offer while she's asleep?
Fighter. Yeah, she's a fighter. When real quick, when she stabs him, does it sound like he says fuck? Because when she stabs him, he muffles, like it sounds like he's saying "fuck" underneath the mask when he falls.
I think I caught something like that, but I was just too infatuated by the fact that she just knew to pull off the doll's head, and boom, there's a fucking knife.
Yep.
Again, another flaw. I was thinking about that so hard. I was like, what, like, why did you automatically assume, hey, I just need to pull this doll's head off and go to town on this guy?
Right.
You know? strange
like,
to me.
where would she have that foresight? I mean,
Hmm.
was she trying to whack him with the doll, and it just so happened to be a blade? And she's like, "Oh shit! Well, that's convenient, and let me stab him." And
Yeah.
that's just funny. But yeah, I could have sworn if you go back and watch it again, and you just stop for that scene when she stabs him a couple times, it literally sounds like he's saying "fuck," and then he falls over.
I mean, she was going after the jugular. Maybe she hit him the wrong way or something, and yeah, maybe Mark would have just, while he was editing, was like, maybe no one will catch that.
I thought it was funny, man. I thought it was possibly the stunt guy saying it because something happened or something, and they just left it in there. They're like, "Fuck it." You can't really determine he's saying "fuck." It just sounds like it. So the MPAA can't get us for that. So, or not MPAA, but the ratings board can't get us for that because it doesn't. It sounds like he's saying it, but they can't prove it. So leave it in there. I don't know. I just thought that was funny. But yeah, man, we've extensively went over this bad boy. You ready to get into ratings?
Oh, first things first. Here's a trivia for you.
Okay. I'm
How
always
many how many kills how many kills did the killer perform in the film?
So you automatically 7 girls, but Catherine survived, so there's 6. And then the random dude, and then Dr. Beck, there's 8.
8. Yeah.
Nailed it.
Yep.
I
8.
almost forgot about Dr. Beck for a second. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was gonna say
Assuming he doesn't kill Catherine.
right, assuming
Yeah.
it's left up in the air.
Yeah, it really is. And again, the ending, it's almost like, I mean, it's not quite the ending of Black Christmas, but it has the feel of the ending of Black Christmas. Because once again, you see the killer's eyes open, and then cuts instantly to credits with that creepy ass music.
Yeah.
So again, it's set up almost like Black Christmas, not quite like Black Christmas, but it's very similar because you're left as an audience going, "Oh fuck, he's still alive. She's still in the house."
Mhm.
In credits, there's not even a small cut at the end of the credits, nothing. So you're just left to assume that he woke up and fucking killed her.
Yeah.
You
Which
know?
you could say the same thing. Yeah. Black Christmas the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. I never brought that correlation together, but you're right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of Black Christmas influence in this movie. I don't know.
Even down to the sorority house.
Yeah. I don't know
You
if the director ever watched Black Christmas or not. I don't know, but I'm sure somewhere somebody got inspiration. Maybe when writing the script, I don't know. But
Yeah.
even with the characters, like I swear Diane feels like Margot Kidder. Like
Mhm.
no joke. She's like the same exact character. It's crazy. Even down to her voice and what she sounds like. It's like, damn, this is crazy.
Mhm.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's definitely highly influenced, I believe, by Black Christmas.
Which makes sense because if you're going to do a sorority house slasher film, go to the GOAT and get
Mhm.
inspiration because Black Christmas did it flawlessly. So
Yeah.
makes sense. You draw any inspiration from any movie for a sorority house slasher film, that's the one you're going to go to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, man. You ready to get into ratings?
Yeah.
Let's do it. You
Think
want
so.
me to go first? You want to?
Yeah. Go ahead, Gore. Shoot.
Okay. So, we've picked out a lot of flaws in the movie and everything, and I've been left wondering about a lot of things in this film. I didn't let that deter me from the film itself. I thought that it had a lot of interesting points. I dug some of the things. I was turned off by some of the kills because, again, like you said, but there again, I think that uh, the rating board or whoever ultimately decides, I think that they had their hands in it a little bit. I don't know if a production company was involved, like a high-end production company. So I do know that for this time, it was a low budget, almost indie type film. Um, just overseeing everything. I really dug this movie. I like this movie a lot. Even with its flaws and quirks, it's still fun. Um, it's still just a fun little 80s slasher that you can sit down and watch. So I gave it actually a 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think originally I had given it a 4.5, but because of the thinking about the film and just some of the flaws that have occurred, and me left as an audience member thinking about the film, going, "This doesn't add up. This doesn't make sense." Kind of like the gun, stuff like that. Um, that deterred me away from making it a 4.5. So I say solid 4 for me, and that's where I stand.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, for me, more than anything, I've watched this movie a handful of times, and easily for me, this was the most frustrating watch for me because this is a movie where I could pick apart the ideas that they had, and they're amazing, amazing. And then there's some scenes I could pick up, flawlessly done, amazingly done. The
Mm-hmm.
bathroom kill sequence, that whole lead up, wonderful. The end with our with our final girl Catherine and her having the visions and all that stuff, awesome. Love that stuff.
Mm.
I just wish the rest of the film kind of streamlined the way those scenes do, because there's a lot of scenes that I just can't. As much as I'm not one to harp on like things that don't make any sense or this and that, these are so glaringly confusing that the most frustrating thing being, of course, the prank and the gun. I cannot absolutely make any sense of that, any sense of it, any logical form or anything. I just can't do it. And I'd be interested to watch this movie later on down the line with the commentary, just to hear what they have to say about that sequence. Um, I love a lot of characters in this movie. I really do. I enjoy them. But some of the writing is just confusing. The weird things that are done that don't make any sense and that are written into the script, and there's some weird edits we were talking about with some things happening, and it's like, wait, what? Like the whole her explaining the one where they're by the pool and they're explaining the prank, and she's like, "Are you guys in? Are you ready?" And they're like, "Yeah." They're all, but we don't know what was going on. The edit was so weird.
Yeah.
It was a lot of funky stuff in this movie, and I think the little pieces here and there that make the movie so good. This movie could easily be, like you said, your original score was like 4.5. It could easily be that if they use these sequences that I love so much and streamline it through this whole movie to where this movie, it doesn't have to make 100% sense because it's a movie at the end of the day. There's going to be flaws in every little thing. But some questions that I hate, this is a really bad critique because I don't feel like it's a fair critique, because I firmly believe when you're critiquing a film, you're critiquing, what are we're critiquing a film, but when we're critiquing a film, the director gets most of it, right? Because he's in charge. He's the main man. You know, you get production involved too, studio heads. They 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 trash, or um they make it more complex than it has to be a lot of the times. And I hate to harp on a movie for the effects or the kills being bland or not really stand out and this and that, when I feel like the director's true intention was to have more graphic and gory kills, and the MPA kind of messed that up. I don't feel like it's a fair critique on the director because he wanted to include those scenes in the movie. I don't know for sure if that's the case. We can speculate. I don't know for sure, so I can't say. But really, the kills were not really, they were kind of underwhelming a lot of the times. and it's really really frustrating because I could see this movie frustrates me more because I could see the potential of it being one of the best, and
Hmm.
because the little things that are getting done, it kind of didn't work out like that. But at the end of the day, it's still like average fare for me, and I come in at a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I'm not, as much as it sounds like I was harping a lot on the movie and stuff like that. It's still very watchable. It's still very, it's very enjoyable for an 80s slasher film.
Yeah.
You have amazing, amazing nudity with Vicky and her just beautiful body, and it's just her awesome rack. I know I'm getting, but yeah, that was wonderful. You want, your slashers to have that element too, because
Hmm.
that's one of the charms of slashers. You have that.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, they were TNA films back in the 80s, you know.
Yeah, gore, kills, TNA. That's what you. I mean, that's what sold. That's what put asses in the seats back then. So and man, Vicky is. Oh, she's a beautiful girl, absolutely stunning, and I'm sure she still is. I mean, you've said that she's on Days of Our Lives or something. Um,
Yeah.
she still looks damn good, but yeah, that for me, it's not. I don't hate this movie at all. I still enjoy it. I just see the potential there and what could have been, and it's like, man, this could have been a 4, 4.5, easy if
Hmm.
all these little things weren't. And then my original rating was a 3.5. And then watching it again, I had bumped it down another point. I'm hoping with each rewatch it doesn't get bumped down more and more for me. But I just couldn't make sense of some of that stuff that was going on, and it really, really deterred me this time when I was watching it. But yeah, that's me, man. 3 out of 4, 3 out of 5 for me.
Right on. Well, I couldn't agree more. It's one of those films that you can just sit down, pop on, and watch and have a good time with. Looking past the flaws, and maybe going into it loosely, I could potentially have a little more fun with it. Instead of trying to critique the piss out of it.
Mhm.
I think that's what I went into it with. I think, well, we kind of both did. Um, critiquing it a little bit much. That's why I like to watch. When I watch movies, I have a tendency of doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
it's hard, man, because you
yeah,
watch them, you can't help it.
but you want to sit down and just. There's times where I know I'm going into a shitty movie, so just enjoy the ride.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but in this case, and I hadn't seen this movie since I bought it. I mean, I watched it when I first bought it, and that was it. So it was pretty fresh with me, kind of new. And then again, when I watched it the second go round, even though I couldn't hear the dialogue, um, I paid attention to what was going on in the story. I knew what was going on because I had watched it a week prior. So um, maybe that's why I critiqued it a little too much there. Which, I mean, nothing wrong with critiquing film, but um, you know, maybe views can change if I didn't critique it so much. And same goes for you, because you caught as much flaws and stuff as
Yeah,
you
I mean,
did.
I've heard it from a lot of people I respect in the reviewing world and stuff like that. A movie is only as good as your last watch. So anything can change. You can. I mean, that's why it's so hard to put a concrete review or a concrete review, not a review, but a grade on a movie or however you scale a movie, however you do it. It's hard
Yeah.
to do that because you can change or you can watch it in a different light one day, but
Mm-hmm.
it's possible for sure.
Yep, yep.
But yeah, man, that was good.
Great one.
Yeah, awesome stuff.
You ready to land it?
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. Well, we enjoyed your company. We enjoyed you watching our episode on House on Sorority Row from 82, possibly 83, whichever one it is.
Certainly.
But yeah, we just we just wanted to reiterate again, if you like our episodes and you want us to continue and keep going, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And make sure you head over to our Facebook group. And also, I haven't done this in a while, but Tony and I are on Letterboxd. This is where we rate our films. So a lot of times we actually hold off from rating. That way, like Tony and myself won't see our ratings prior to the review. But make sure that you head over there and follow us. You can, I believe, type in Tony's name. I know you can type in my name and I'll pop up. You just follow me, and you'll get a glimpse of what we're reviewing, what we're watching, and just what we rate a film. And again, at the end of the day, it's just our rates. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. So, just follow us and check us out there. And if you follow us, we'll follow you and watch what you're watching.
For sure.
But yeah. And folks, if you want to, on our Facebook group, make sure that you head over there and drop a comment, or even just a quick comment on what you would like for us to review. We'll gladly review it. So definitely give us some ideas and stuff, and we'll be glad to review it and rate it for you guys and put an episode out for you guys. But yeah, that's all I got. Tony, you got anything?
That's perfectly said, man. I got nothing. You got it.
All right.
Peace out, guys.
Yeah.
Go on the Facebook page.
Definitely. Well, folks, we'd love to have you again, and catch you on the flip side.
Later, guys.
Later.